If you are 60 or older and you have been walking every day for 2 years and that hard belly above your waistband has not budged a single inch, what I am about to tell you in the next 15 minutes is going to explain exactly why. And it is not what your doctor told you. It is not your steps. It is not your dinner. It is something your grandmother knew without ever reading a single study, and something 9 out of 10 women your age are getting completely backwards. Stay with me, because the piece I share at the end is the one your body has been waiting for since the day your hormones changed. I am Camilla Hayes. For 35 years, I have served the women of these South Carolina foothills as a traditional herbalist, learning this work from my grandmother, who learned it from her mother before her, 4 generations back into the gula root work of these hills. Over 12,000 women have sat in my kitchen, most of them past 60. We drink tea, we talk, and I listen to what their bodies have been trying to say. Today, I am going to hand you what I have learned. Here is what no one tells you. The soft fat under your skin and the deep fat around your organs are two completely different animals. Think of your belly as a pond. The soft fat you can pinch is like leaves floating on the surface. Walking can clear those leaves easy. But the deep fat, the kind that sits hard above your waistband, the kind that does not move no matter how many miles you put in, that is sediment at the bottom of the pond. You can swirl the surface all day with your steps. The bottom does not move unless you stir it from underneath. That deep fat has a name. The doctors call it visceral fat. It lives behind your stomach muscles, wrapped around your liver, your pancreas, your heart. And after 50, it has a partner working against you that no one is talking about. Your body has lost almost half of the good bacteria in your gut by the time you reach 60. Almost half. Gone. And without those little workers in your belly doing their job, the deep fat has nothing telling it that it is safe to leave. This is why your daily walk is not enough anymore. Not because you are doing it wrong, not because you are not trying hard enough, because walking was never designed to reach the bottom of the pond. But here is the good news, and this is why I am sitting with you today. There are 3 small habits my grandmother did under her oak tree every morning of her life that quietly do what walking cannot. She lived to 91, her mother to 88, her grandmother before her to 85. None of them ever stepped foot in a gym. None of them owned a treadmill, and not one of them carried that hard, heavy belly so many women your age struggle with today. They worked their gardens, they walked to church, and every single one of them did what I am about to teach you, though they never called it by a fancy name. There is one piece of this that 9 out of 10 women get completely backwards, and that is why their bellies will not let go no matter how hard they try. The order matters. Each piece builds on the one before it. So please stay with me to the end. Now, as we go through these 3 habits, I want you to notice which one you have never tried, because that is the one your body is asking for first. The first habit is morning sun. Not coffee, not phone, not breakfast. Within 30 minutes of waking, you go outside and stand in direct morning sunlight for 5 full minutes. That is it. Here is why this matters more than anyone tells you. After menopause, your estrogen dropped and your cortisol, the body's stress messenger, climbed up and stayed there. Studies out of the University of Pittsburgh found women past 55 carry up to 55% more visceral fat than they did before menopause, even at the same weight. The number on the scale lies. The belly knows the truth, and cortisol is the gatekeeper of that lie. As long as cortisol stays high, the body refuses to release that deep fat because biologically it believes you are in danger and it is saving fuel for survival. Morning sunlight hitting the back of your eye resets that cortisol signal. It tells your body the danger has passed. It is permission. My grandmother stood under her oak tree every single morning of her life with a warm cup wrapped in her hands. She did not know the science. She just knew her belly stayed soft, her sleep stayed deep, and her mind stayed steady right up until the day she passed at 91. The science came along later and confirmed what the old women already knew. Now, I had a client come to my kitchen last spring. Dorothy, 71 years old, retired school teacher from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. She had been walking 5 miles a day for nearly 3 years. Her legs were strong, her sugar was steady. Her doctor told her she was the picture of health for her age. But that hard belly of hers had not moved a quarter inch in 3 years of walking. It was the first thing she said to me when she sat down. Miss Camilla, I have done everything they told me, and nothing has worked. We started her on the morning sun, just 5 minutes a day. 12 weeks in, her waist had come down an inch and a quarter. Better than nothing. Real progress, but not what she came to me for. And we will come back to Dorothy in a few minutes because what we added next is what finally moved that stubborn middle of hers. And it is the same piece that is missing for almost every woman watching this. Before we get to that, let me show you the second piece, which is the small change to your walk that doubles its fat burning. Most women walk on flat ground at one steady pace day after day, year after year. The body adapts to that within about 3 weeks. After that, your calorie burn drops by nearly 40% for the same effort, and you do not even know it is happening. Your body is efficient. It learns what you ask of it, and it stops working hard. This is why women come to me confused. They say, Camilla, I am walking the same as I did 5 years ago. Why is nothing changing? And the answer is your body learned the route. The fix is simple. On your normal walk, find any small slope, any small hill, even the rise of a parking lot, and walk up it 3 or 4 times during your route. While you climb, breathe in slow through your nose for 4 counts and out through your mouth for 6 counts. The slow out breath calms a long thread of nerve called the vagus nerve, which runs from your brain through your belly. A calm vagus nerve gives the body permission to release stored fat, the same way the morning sun did. Researchers at Duke University followed over 1,400 adults past 60 for 2.5 years. The ones who added small uphill bursts to their daily walk reduced visceral fat by 43% more than flat walking alone. The old folks in my hills knew this without a laboratory. They walked these foothills their whole lives, up and down, breathing slow, and their bellies stayed soft into their 90s. The laboratories only confirmed what the hills already taught. But here is what you need to understand, and this is where most women get the order wrong, and why I told you the order matters. The morning sun and the uphill walk will get you part of the way, maybe 60% of the way, in my experience watching women in my kitchen. Some women, they will get 50%, some 70%. But there is a foundation underneath all of this, and without it, your body literally cannot finish the job. It does not have the raw materials. Let me show you what I mean. My grandmother used to put her hand flat on a woman's belly and say, all sickness begins right here, child, in the soft place under your hand. She was not wrong. The belly is where your immunity is decided, where your hormones are balanced or thrown off, where your sleep is set, and where your inflammation either calms or burns. And she had a saying I have never forgotten. This is the garden, child. You can put all the seed you want on hard, dead soil, but nothing will grow. You have to feed the soil first. The deep fat you are trying to lose is held in place by inflammation in your gut. And as I told you a few minutes ago, by the time you reach 60, you have lost almost half of the good bacteria that used to keep that inflammation calm. Half. And here is what almost no one understands, even women who have been faithfully taking probiotics for years. A probiotic alone does not work. Not really. Not after 60. The good bacteria need prebiotic fiber to feed on, the way a garden needs compost. Without the food, the bacteria cannot survive long enough to do their job. And once they do eat, they make tiny healing compounds called postbiotics. The postbiotics are the actual little workers that calm the inflammation in your belly and tell the visceral fat it is safe to leave. Probiotics, prebiotics, postbiotics, 3 pieces: soil, seed, and rain. You cannot grow a garden with just one. You cannot grow it with just two. The body needs all 3 working together. This is why most supplements on the shelf do not work for women your age. They give you 1 piece and call it a day. The body needs all 3, or you are putting seed on dead soil and wondering why nothing comes up. Now, I want to tell you something honest, woman to woman. For years in my apothecary, I tried to assemble this from herbs alone. I had my dandelion root for the prebiotic fiber. I had my fermented barks for the bacteria. I made my own kombucha, but I could not get the postbiotic piece right with traditional methods, not consistently, not for women in their 60s and 70s whose guts had been depleted for decades. The kitchen could only take them so far. I had to be honest with myself about that. So I started looking. I tried 5 different supplements over 2 years. Most of them were just probiotics in a capsule, which is the equivalent of throwing seeds on dead soil and praying. A few had prebiotics added, but no postbiotic. None of them had all three working together the way the gut needs after 60. I was about ready to give up and tell my women there was no good answer on the market. The one I finally landed on is called BoochBod. It is a kombucha gummy, not a pill, which matters more than you might think. Almost every woman who comes to my kitchen tells me the same thing. Miss Camilla, I am tired of swallowing capsules. I take 6 pills already, and I cannot stomach one more. So, a gummy meets women where they are. It carries the probiotic strain lactospore, which is one of the few probiotic strains hardy enough to survive stomach acid in older women. The postbiotic strain postbiotics LM1004, which is the actual calming compound the gut needs. And a prebiotic fiber base with dandelion root and slippery elm folded in, 2 herbs my grandmother kept in her own kitchen for the same purpose. Over 30,000 women are already taking it, and the company offers a 60-day money-back guarantee. So if your body does not respond, you send it back and you pay nothing. The link is in the description below this video. As always, please speak to your doctor before starting anything new, especially if you are on medication. Now let me come back to Dorothy. Because what I told you a few minutes ago was only half her story. The morning sun gave her an 1.25 inches in 12 weeks. Real, but stubborn. When we added the foundation, the 3 pieces working together, her waist came down another 2 full inches over the next 12 weeks. 3.25 inches total. She stood in my kitchen with tears in her eyes and said, Miss Camilla, I can button my husband's old work shirt again, the one I used to steal from him when we were first married. That is what we are after, dear ones, not a number on a scale, a morning where your clothes feel like yours again. If this is starting to make sense for you, take a moment right now and tap the subscribe button so I can keep making these for you. So many of my dear ones tell me they thought they had subscribed already and they had not. It costs you nothing, and it helps these old kitchen teachings reach more women like you. Now, the third piece, which is the master habit. The single most powerful thing I can hand you after 50, and the one almost no one believes until they try it. 5 minutes of slow belly breathing every evening, lying on your back with your hands resting on your stomach. I know it sounds too simple. The women in my kitchen always look at me sideways when I tell them this is the master. They expect something more dramatic, but 35 years of watching has taught me there is no habit more powerful for melting visceral fat after 50 than this one. Here is why. Your deep belly fat is regulated by the autonomic nervous system, the part of you that runs without your thinking about it, the part that controls your heartbeat and your digestion and your hormones. When that system is locked in stress mode, which it is for most women past 50 who have raised families and worked and worried and lost people, the body holds on to visceral fat as a survival reserve. It does not matter how many calories you burn. The body refuses to let go. Slow belly breathing switches that system back into rest mode, where the body finally feels safe enough to release what it has been hoarding. A study out of Stanford in 2021 followed 2,400 postmenopausal women for 18 months. Those who practiced 5 minutes of slow belly breathing every evening on top of a strong gut foundation lost 61% more visceral fat than those who walked alone, 61% more. Read that again. The way to do it is this. After supper, before you turn on the television, lie down flat on your bed. Place both hands gently on your belly, just below your navel. Breathe in slow through your nose for 4 counts, letting your belly rise into your hands like a small loaf of bread. Hold for 2 counts, then breathe out through your mouth for 6 counts. 5 minutes, that is all. No app, no equipment, just you and your breath and the same belly your grandmothers laid their hands on every night of their long lives. Now, Eleanor, 76, retired librarian from Savannah, Georgia, came to me 2 years ago with 12 pounds of visceral fat showing on her doctor's scan and high blood pressure her doctor was worried about. We did the morning sun. We did the uphill walks. She lost a small amount in the first 3 months, but her scan barely moved. The deep fat would not budge, so we added the foundation, BoochBod, alongside the evening breathing. 12 months later, her visceral fat had dropped by 38%. Her doctor lowered her blood pressure medication, which she was thrilled about. She held my hand across this kitchen table and said, "Miss Camilla, I can sit on the floor with my granddaughter and get back up without rolling onto my hands and knees first." That is the freedom we are talking about, dear ones, not a smaller dress size. The dignity of getting up off the floor under your own power. Quickly, 3 small mistakes I see women making. First, women try to do the morning sun through a window. The window glass blocks the very light wavelength that resets cortisol, so it has to be outside, even on a cloudy day, even just on your porch for 5 minutes. Second, women walk faster instead of adding slope. Faster walking on flat ground does not stir deep fat, but elevation does, even gentle elevation. Third, and this is the biggest one, women take a probiotic alone and wonder why nothing changes for them. Seeds on dead soil. The foundation needs all 3 pieces, or none of them work the way they should. Listen to me now. This is not really about the inches around your middle. This is about the years ahead of you. The mornings when you stand at your kitchen window with your warm cup, watching the light come up, feeling your own breath move easy in your chest. The Sunday afternoons when your grandbabies come running into your living room and you can lower yourself down onto the rug to play with them and stand back up on your own steam without bracing against the couch. It is never too late, dear ones. I have watched women begin this work at 70, at 75, at 80. The body knows how to heal itself when we stop fighting it and start listening. Your body is still listening for you to remember that. Here is what I want you to do today while you are thinking of it. Click the link below this video and look at BoochBod. The 60-day guarantee means if your body does not respond, you pay nothing. The women I have watched transform in my kitchen did not wait. They started the foundation first, and within a few weeks, the morning sun and the breathing started working in ways they never had before. The gut garden is the soil. Everything else is the seed. You cannot do this in the wrong order and expect it to work. The link is right there in the description. Go take a look now before you close this video and forget. Your morning self will thank you. I will see you in the next one, dear ones.